Nerdtopia, yo, and we got a freaking podcast. Cruising in the speeder, bullseye, and flipping womp rats. Comics, video games, movies, real-life superheroes is what you can expect if you're wired to be weirdo. So we welcome all the newbies and the groupies, flashing boobies in the movies without cooties. In the show, it's got you drooling with this comedy, no fooling. Now presenting you your hosts,
The Chuck.
Doolin, word, NerdtopiaCast.com, Facebook.com/NerdtopiaCast, also YouTube and podcast, 38 seconds.
Hey, what's happening, Nerdtopia? This is Doolin Dalton
and The Chuck.
And welcome back, man, to, I guess, what'll be our final episode of NerdtopiaCast, dude. So it's been about 7 months, almost to the day since we did an episode, and a lot of you, I'm not gonna say a lot. I can't we didn't have the numbers to say a lot of you. All 24 of you are probably wondering, like, what the fuck happened, dude? Like, you guys had this podcast and it went off the air, and you guys just stopped. It got a little weird, folks. I'm gonna kind of just brief you on it, like very brief, without throwing any malice out there or anything like that, man. It's been a rocky 7 months for me, guys. I posted what was our final episode, which was episode 28, Halloweeners. I posted it on Halloween night, obviously, like in keeping with the holiday. Literally within like 20 minutes after posting it, I got hit with some really fucking terrible news, man. As Chuck here said, man, sometimes life just punches you repeatedly in the balls. And in my case, it was Thor, like, busted into my front door with Mjolnir and just, like, pinned me down and started fucking beating me in the testicles with it. It was not a fun time for me. So I tried on a few different occasions to kind of, like, pick the cast back up and keep rolling with it, and the spirit was just not in me, man. I didn't have it. I also didn't have a co-host because I left the place where I had all my connections and I had to go somewhere else. So, kind of putting that in the rear view, man. My former co-host, who left the cast back in like episode 20 during Dragon Con, left for reasons he said were his reasons for leaving. They were not. He had other pretenses. As a matter of fact, I think it's pretty safe to say that his entire reason for starting the cast with me were under false fucking pretenses. So we're just going to go ahead and put all that behind us, man. I felt it was necessary to give NerdtopiaCast a send-off. Like, I can't just leave it like that. I'm kind of a perfectionist that way. So this is it, man. I've got my buddy Chuck sitting here next to me, and together we are going to wipe the shit off of our shoes, so to speak, and leave everything that happened behind us and just kind of move forward. This is the last NerdtopiaCast podcast. However, this will be the last one that I will do under the name NerdtopiaCast, because there's a lot of bad juju that has to do with that. And in the meantime, we've got some other great things lined up. So sitting next to me right now is The Chuck. If you've read his articles on NerdtopiaCast.com, he is the writer of Chuck Gives a Fuck. What else you got going on there, Chuck?
Well, eventually Chuck Gives a Fuck fell by the wayside. It was just too depressing, realizing the stupidity of humanity.
It was funny.
I do a lot of the video game reviews that have been on the site for the past 9 months. I've also done a couple B-movie reviews. In the near future, I'll be your True Blood recapper as well. Hold your jokes on that. I love pussy.
I've never watched it, man, but I hear there's a lot of very beautiful men on there.
There are. There are some beautiful men that, I'd give up my butt cherry for.
I was going to say, like, probably make it question your sexuality just a little bit. Like, I'm not gay, but if, what's the name of the really handsome dude? Like, Eric
Northman.
I've heard, is that the name of the actor or the character?
It would be, Alexander Skarsgård.
Oh, yeah, okay. I've heard legends of this guy before. Now, apparently, like, if I'm at a party and I've had a couple Jack Daniels, one too many, this dude might be able to talk me out of it from what I hear.
I can fap to him sober.
Wow. Yeah, so, but apparently he's a very beautiful man. But no, I've never watched True Blood, but it's very popular. So if it's popular, we need to jump on that. Are there at least like fappable women in there?
Oh, very. There's a hot ginger, which...
ooh, I love me some gingers.
Yeah, and she's got beautiful tits. Anna Paquin's tits are actually pretty unimpressive.
Yeah, I always said that about her. I was like, she's got a cute face, but not lacking in the booby region.
They're sad. They're like deflated water balloons.
Sad boobies. No, we like happy boobies, though. But, I'd let it pass for Anna Paquin, man. Maybe we'll see. But that way, if your wife or your girlfriend or whoever walks in and they catch you fapping it to Eric, the vampire, you can be like, no, look, there's a hot redhead up there. Like, I'm not just fapping to a dude.
The scene just changed. I
swear. Now let me call you Eric. That's what we got going on. Like, he's going to be doing a little something with True Blood. We've got Game of Thrones coming up here pretty soon. But before we jump into that, because I'm jumping ahead of myself, man. There's a lot that we missed over the last 7. A lot of nerd news, man. A lot of things that we needed to cover, but we didn't get that ground covered. And several times I jumped in there and tried to do it when we had big stuff like the announcement of Elder Scrolls Online. Well, actually, it wasn't the announcement, but when they released like the teaser footage, and it gave me nerd boners, and I tried to do some episodes, and unfortunately, the guy that I tried to do it with, we didn't have the back and forth with myself or any of the co-hosts that I had kind of opened the door up to until that point. I mean, if you listen, I did one with our comic book writer Charles Baserap. I did one with the host of NerdtopiaCast 3000, Greg McIver, and also Ryan Visengard, who is he's a big horror buff. So we had him come in there, and we did a bunch of stuff with him, and tried to keep it going. And then in the long run, obviously for reasons I gave, I had to leave. But let's talk a little bit about what we missed, because we don't want to miss anything. We don't want to miss a thing. So here's a little. I can put together a little musical compilation. Just for you guys, here's a look back on what we missed, because we don't want to miss it. So here we go.
Disney is a huge corporation. They have all kinds of capabilities and facilities, so that there's a lot that is gained by this. When I first made Star Wars, everybody in Hollywood said, well, this is a movie Disney should have made.
We are absolutely going to make Star Wars movies, and we are in the midst of the really fun part of the process, which is we're sitting down with a couple of writers, and we're starting to discuss ideas, and we're starting to talk about what those stories might be.
Every year starting summer 2015, so summer 2016, Star Wars. Summer 2017, Star Wars.
Sci-fi fans, NASA is trying to make warp drive a reality. That's right, the form of faster-than-light travel popularized in Star Trek may actually be doable. He adds, we may see a Star Trek experience within our lifetime.
You should know that when you betray me, I will kill you.
When do we start?
We think it's going to be the Millennium Falcon, just like in Episode 4 when he comes in. Now, cut back to the Quinjet, and Reed Richards from the Fantastic Four is piloting it. Oh, it was a fake-out. Colossus in there. We have X-23, which is Wolverine's daughter. And then we have a now mind-controlled Sabretooth and, of course, Wolverine. So imagine those two going up against Robot Chewbacca, because that's going to happen. That is what we're teasing right now.
This is it, Xbox One. In designing Xbox One, we've obsessed about every finite detail. In every engineering milestone, at every corner, in every feature, the principles we followed were to be simple, instant, and complete.
You idiots. The worst reveal event I've ever seen. I'm really fucking disappointed. Xbox One, Microsoft confirms pre-owned fee for Xbox One. A fucking message pops up, say, give us money, god damn it!
Can I just keep pretending I'm your son?
You are my son. It's not an S. In my world, it means hope.
What does SHIELD stand for, Agent Ward?
Strategic Homeland Intervention, Enforcement, and Logistics Division. I'm clearance level 6. I know that Agent Coulson was killed in action before the Battle of New York. Welcome to level 7.
Now, the actor Matt Smith is to leave Doctor Who after 4 years in the role. The 11th Doctor will bow out at this year's Christmas special. He said it had been an honour to play the part, but offered no clues as to whom his successor might be, as Lizo Mzimba reports.
Star Trek Into Darkness. I don't know if I'm going to like where they're going with this, but it turns out being alright. You're like, oh, okay, cool, we're on our space adventure. In the end, Star Trek Into Darkness was exciting, it was cool.
Don't touch Lola.
There is no advantage, zero advantage to owning a console now, or an Xbox One, over a PC.
All right, man. So that's a little bit of what we missed here at NerdtopiaCast in the last 7 months. Just a little piece of it, because we don't have that kind of goddamn time, man. Like, there's just been so much nerd news that we missed and just couldn't pick up on. But there's a little piece of it, man. Of course, Disney acquiring Star Wars. The announcement of George Lucas selling it for like $4-point-something billion was huge, which of course got us all excited, because we're going to see more Star Wars movies in the future. And at this point, this is old news. It's been like just fucking talked about. But then the unveiling of the Xbox One and the huge fan rage that brought on, man. Like, they're going to be effectively killing the used games market, or maybe they won't. We don't know what PS4 is going to do yet.
Well, the thing there is, Sony has already stated outright, number one, that the PS4 is a gaming console with gamers in mind.
Hear that, Microsoft? Gaming.
Yeah, not fucking TV, not Telemundo partnership. What the fuck?
I don't... Did they announce a Telemundo partnership?
They did.
God damn it.
Yeah, I don't understand how this should matter to 98% of fucking America! Like, I get that it's a big deal in Mexico for the, like, 3 people who can fucking afford an Xbox.
Been living in this country, sir? I mean, we don't turn this into a political thing, but I'm just saying the majority of Americans speak Mexicano at this point.
I'm not saying
that's
they
borderline
don't,
racist. I'd like to retract that. I'm not going to edit it out, though, but that is borderline racist. However, it's seriously, like, the majority of people speak Spanish at this point. So, I mean, I guess that's a pretty smart marketing play on their move.
But why would you watch television in a second language? What can Telemundo offer besides soccer? And it is called soccer for all you British fucks out there. I'm looking at you, Ulfric.
Oh no, we have we have British correspondents that write for our website. Don't piss them off, man. They're doing a lot of free shit for us.
What are they going to do, invade us? We kicked them out once.
Oh, no.
Fucking tea-sippers.
Oh, God damn it. I'm just going to... I'm not affiliated with him, this man sitting next to me, Chris and Jessica and Doug. I can't be held accountable for what he said.
Jessica drinks coffee. She talks about it. She's okay. She's been Americanized. Normalized.
I don't know if she's been Americanized, but that's not for me to say. That's not for me to say. So, use games. Fucking show derailer here. Use games. We're getting back on that, man. So we know that Sony's going to stick to kind of more of a stick to more games as opposed to being a media box, because I have a media box. It's called my fucking PC. Like, it's what I use for everything else. When I want to play a game, I turn on my Xbox. If I want to watch TV, I usually do that through my computer. Or my, I don't know, television!
What a novel thought.
Fucking hell. What else did we miss? Oh, yeah, Phase 2 of The Avengers, man. So we had a little bit in that song. We had a little mix of Thor 2 in there. They're off filming Captain America 2 right now, which is going to be the next one with Robert Redford's been signed on. They're going to bring in the Falcon as Captain's sidekick in this, and Winter Soldier is going to be the villain. I wonder if they're ever going to bring Red Skull back. Maybe for part 3.
I would think, because, he's not dead.
No, he's not. Like, I was a little surprised when they didn't bring him in to tease him in the Avengers, maybe a little bit. But that's. You had so much going on in the Avengers, you didn't really need all that. But it's going to be kind of interesting to see where it goes, because at this point, Phase 2 of Joss Whedon's Avengers franchise extends to not only this beautiful series of movies that they've created, because I'd say the most mediocre one at this point would probably have to have been The Incredible Hulk, and even that was good. You know what I mean? It wasn't okay. Well, fair enough. It wasn't okay. But when you admit that it's not bad, it wasn't a bad movie.
Well,
God damn it, Chuck. All right, no, hit me with it. What do you think?
I honestly, up until the Avengers with the recast of whatever the hell his name is. Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah.
Up until that point, I thought the Incredible Hulk was the most uninteresting superhero in the history of ever. Mm-hmm. I watched both Incredible Hulk movies.
There was only one.
Well,
the only one.
Which one are we counting? The Eric Bana one?
Who? I don't know what you're talking about, sir.
Yeah, Edward Norton didn't do a bad job.
I love Edward Norton, man.
But the Incredible Hulk, for the most part, is a pretty boring character. He's a dude who gets retard strength and turns green when he's pissed.
Oh boy, here we go. We're minute 18 in, and you're already using the word. You're already throwing the mentally handicapped slurs out there, man.
At least his shorts are the most durable fucking thing on the planet.
I know, right? What the fuck are those made out of, man? That dude can grow to 6 times his normal size, and yet he doesn't have his green dong flapping around.
Yeah.
At least, maybe he had the foresight to be like, well, if I'm going to be an enraged green monster, I may as well throw on some super strong spandex. They fit him when he's wearing them, so what the fuck are they made out of, man?
It's more incredible than adamantium, I'll tell you that shit. Fucking let's
vibranium spandex pants.
Imagine what Versace could do with that shit.
Oh my god. You don't wonder if S.H.I.E.L.D. has to custom make him shit, or give him something that grows with him or whatever, because if that really worked, don't you think you would at the very least see the outline of what obviously has to be a Ron Jeremy-sized dong hanging on the side of it, but we never see it. We never see the imprint of it.
Are you saying you want to see the
I'm
imprint?
just saying that we need to keep a little bit. We've got so much fantasy in there.
I think you're fantasizing a little bit more than I am at this point.
I wouldn't know what to do with it. Would not know what to do with the Incredible Hulk's dong. Let me just and I don't think a lot of women ooh, no, fuck you. You wouldn't know what to do with it either. Don't that would, you know what that would do? That would break you in half, quite literally. I don't know, Betty Ross, you're a stronger woman than any other woman that I know. So. What the fuck are we talking about? Now, so Phase 2 of the Avengers. I got really kind of sidetracked talking about a monster green penis. So, anyways, for the most part, I've enjoyed all of the films that they put out within the Avengers franchise, so you can do pretty much anything with it, and that's what they're doing. They're we're going to make an Ant-Man movie, and people are tied to the Avengers? I'll shell out money to go see it, because it's tied to that franchise. Whedon has effectively spun franchise gold with this thing.
He is amazing. I have been a huge fan of pretty much everything Whedon's done. He has the ability to make super characters utterly relatable, where you're I could go fucking have a beer with the Incredible Hulk, even though, you know, he's a genius scientist. You know, oh, look, here's Tony Stark.
Sitting in a bar with the Hulk, like, hey, motherfucker, how many more rounds am I have to buy for you? Hulk not feel nothing. Give another beer, please. God damn it. I don't even want to see what his bar tab was.
Fill it to shield.
And then, like, he finally gets fucking drunk, and then you just gotta sit there and listen to him blubber about Betty for 3 hours. She not want to take my monster dong. And we've come full circle.
Yeah.
Back on Hulk's penis.
Personally, I kind of hope that we get an acknowledgement with Ant-Man of a very infamous scene in the comics where, because he can shrink or grow,
right?
He shrunk down and actually was inside his wife's vagina, licking
I'm
her
sorry.
clitoris.
No. I'm gonna. No.
I want to see that.
No, sir. No. Even for me. No, not happening. We're not even gonna. No, we're not doing that. This line is done at this point. Talk about dong all you want, okay? But when we go into vagina, we're crossing the line. So, Avengers. Did they cast Ant-Man yet? Do we know?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Like way back in some of the earlier episodes of the cast, we talked about some of the speculations about who it might be. We threw a lot of interesting choices out there, but I'm sure like wherever they go with it, I'm on board with it. And then while we were away, they released, I think last month, they released the trailer, or several trailers rather, for the S.H.I.E.L.D. TV series. And here's the kick-ass thing about that is everybody's fucking favorite S.H.I.E.L.D. agent is back, man. Agent Phil is back, and you don't fuck with Phil. I think that's gonna be what that whole show is based around, because you don't have like the main guys in here. You don't have the superheroes. You don't have you don't have Steve Rogers. You don't have Tony Stark. You don't have the Hulk. I'm sure that they will be mentioned. They'll be alluded to, but you don't have the big guys. So the main person that you do have from that franchise coming back is Phil, a.k.a. Agent Coulson. And I'm looking forward to that.
I'm very much looking forward to that, because you could just watch, when you watch that whole series of movies with Iron Man and Captain America, the 5-minute scene that he pops up for, you're like, oh my god, here he comes, he's going to fucking deliver a zinger of a line in every movie. His role became more prominent, and every time they put more weight on his shoulders to carry a scene, and every time they went ahead and made him more of a focus, it didn't detract from the movie, and he developed his own fan base. He's a charismatic actor, he's an intriguing character.
And a charismatic character, played by a charismatic actor, so I mean, he pulled it off very well.
I'm very much looking forward to it, and honestly, I don't really give a shit how they explain how he's alive.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're going to acknowledge it, and good, they have to.
Well, I've heard the phrase "life model decoy" thrown around, and apparently, we could probably ask our comic book guy Charles Bastrap.
Is that a euphemism for a sex bot?
God damn it, Chuck! We're not even. Why are we? This is like the 6th time we've dipped back into sex. Like, if you just want to make a sex chat show, we'll do that, where we talk about the Hulk's luscious dong. I mean, we'll just talk about sex. But no, I've heard the phrase "life model decoy" thrown around a lot, and apparently that was something that S.H.I.E.L.D. would use, either like a clone.
I bet they'd use them.
God damn it!
I want Black Widow's life model decoy. I only need it for like a minute. I mean, an hour.
Yeah, but they deteriorate. I don't know if you know about this. If you use it as a sex doll, like the mental capacity of it deteriorates.
I don't want to have conversations with Black Widow's decoy.
You'd just be like, well, you would just feel awful about it by the end of it. You'd be like, Chuck, come and give me Chuck. Like drool coming out of the mouth, like biting her own lip. You're just like, oh, just don't speak. You're like, I hate like building blocks and popsicles.
Well, I mean, at that point, you just give it the old Yeller treatment. It's not murder.
Oh, God. Well, I think it'll just be a thing where she, like, just kind of starts to fall apart. Like, I got my arm, Chuck.
As long as her veg don't fall off, I'm fine.
Oh, man, I can't, this is what we're going to do an entire series together? God damn it. So, yeah, on that note, man, so there's going to be great things coming up for Avengers Phase 2. And we missed a lot of that. And then after that, after we see Avengers 2 in 2015, I'm fairly certain they're going to keep moving forward with Avengers 3. And it'll be a nice little contained trilogy, but with lots and lots of detail in between there. And they've created this almost comic book continuity on film, and that spans this franchise. It spans over several different mediums, like all these different movie series, and now a television series. And it's fucking brilliant because it's everything that the comic books have done over the years. Now we're seeing it brought into this mainstream media, which is it's an exciting time to be a comic book fan. And as I've said it several times before, back in the cast, dude, the geek have inherited the earth. Like, it was like, I remember when I was growing up as a kid, like, I'd be sitting there reading my X-Men comic books or whatever, and like my peers would come by and be like, "You're fucking reading comic books, you're a fucking nerd." Well, it's changed now, man. Like, everybody, even if you don't read comic books, motherfuckers pretend like they do just so they can be like, "Oh, I know, that was Thanos at the end of the teaser. I know who that is because I read comic books." No, you don't, you lying motherfuckers.
Yeah, you used Wikipedia for 30 seconds and looked up a spoiler on the last scene just so you could be the smart guy.
Exactly. So yeah, man, it's an exciting time to be a comic book fan with everything we got going out. What else did we miss? So we've got Star Wars franchise, we've got the unveiling of the Xbox One. Oh, yes, Man of Steel. Let's kind of touch on that just a little bit. If you are a Superman fan.
That is a pretty big caveat given the cinematic history of the Superman franchise.
Absolutely, man. I mean, Superman has been around as long as superheroes have been around, hence the phrase Superman. Like, he coined the term superhero. So going way back, and you know, he had a lot of really campy versions on the screen, and even in this comic book. You ever picked up a Silver Age comic book? That shit is campy as fuck.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's part of the reason why the Batman TV series was so campy, just because that's what the comic book was back then. But so we've seen a lot of different versions of Superman over the years. You know, with the George Reeve version on the big screen. I'm sorry,
that ended with a bang.
Oh, sir, you're going to hell.
Yeah, I figure I'll drag you along.
Yeah.
You're enabling this.
Well, obviously, when you die before me, when this happens, they're just going to put you right there, like, next to St. Pete at the Pearly Gates, and like, all right, just wait, because we're going to have a talk with the two of you together. So you're going to be, like, fucking just sitting in the principal's office, waiting for your accomplice to get there. It'd be like when you were in school, you flush the cherry bomb down the toilet, and you get up there, you get called to the principal's office. Well, Doolin had the cherry bomb. That's exactly what this fucking situation's going to be, where I have to get in there and fucking answer for your bullshit.
I'm totally bus driving you to the big man upstairs. Yep.
So on the small screen, we had George Reeves, and then Christopher Reeves had his time in the sun for Don't You Fucking Dare. I see the microphone sailing to your lips, sir, to make a crack at Christopher Reeves. Don't you dare fucking do it.
No, I totally respect Christopher Reeve. In fact, you could say his acting really had some legs.
I knew it. As soon as I brought it up, I was like, he's gonna fucking make it. Fucking never mind. So he had his time in the sun, and then he quit, and then years later we had Lois and Clark, and that was okay. It had its ups and its downs.
Dean Cain actually did a pretty decent job in that show, which is the only time you'll ever hear praise for Dean Cain.
Right. Well, because he's not even going to be known for anything else, and that is kind of the Superman curse, in that once you play that role, you're never really going to be known for it. And once you step into that iconic character, you're not going to be known for anything else. I mean, like, look at, Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker. That's all he ever is. And that motherfucker voiced the Joker and did a brilliant job at performing that character. But anytime anybody looks at him, all they see is Luke Skywalker. And that's kind of the iconic character curse. Tom Welling for Smallville. Smallville was huge disappointment for a lot of fans. Started out really good, and then just kind of devolved. Got good again, and then devolved again into a very disappointing series finale, which I spoke about with Ryan Visengard at great length for a while. Very disappointing. But that being said, we won't even touch on Superman Returns. But now there's a new hope on the horizon here, coming up in a couple weeks. Man of Steel. I'll let you add your input.
For the first time, I'm actually interested in the series, in the movie. Because honestly, I tried to get into Smallville, and like you pointed out, it would go good, and then it would start to devolve, and it couldn't hold my attention. And then, like you pointed out, let's not even get into Superman Returns.
Yeah.
So I was pretty much going to ignore Man of Steel, and then I saw a trailer, and what I noticed from the trailer is, man, everyone is a pack of dicks in that movie.
How so?
Well,
obviously General Zod's a douchebag.
Well, yeah, but he may be the most understandable douche out of the bunch. Because, like, you've got the father, and I'm going to admit that part of this rant is inspired by an article I read on Cracked about the same thing.
Hawkman being a douche?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But about how, like, Jor-El launches Kal-El off into space saying he'll either be loved or feared. Well, fuck me! Those are two pretty fucking big extremes, Dad. Why don't you send him someplace a little safer? You've got the chick who's like, oh, why do you have an S on your shirt? Oh, in my world, this symbol means hope. What the fuck? And she says, well, down here, it's just an S.
Right.
Wow, way to stomp all over his culture.
Well, it's a fucking woman, man. What do you expect? They don't understand. No, okay, ooh, bad, Doolin, bad. You're rubbing off on me, Chuck. Rubbing off on me, man. Like, I'm trying so hard to tread lightly and not go offensive with it, but it's the waves just kind of, I just absorb it by osmosis. I can't help it. I have no control. Yeah, but I respect the fact they're trying to do something new, trying to do something different with the Man of Steel. Let me just say real quick, and I've said it several times before, with Christopher Reeve put it best. When he went on to Smallville, they gave him an interview, like, why come out of retirement just to do Smallville? Like, you're paralyzed, you can't, you're not doing a lot of acting work, there's not a lot of roles for you anymore. And he said, because of the respect that I have for the character, I feel it's important for me to pass on the legacy before I move on, which is very appropriate because like 2 years later he did. But he said, and I'm paraphrasing here, but something very similar to what he said is that the character of Superman has survived for like 70, 80 years now because he is. I think this year's the 75th anniversary. Come to think of it. He's been reinvented for every new generation, and that was the problem with Superman Returns, is it wasn't reinvented. And this is what they've done. They've taken everything we've known about Superman, about his legacy, about the legend of it, and they're tweaking it, and they're changing it. And for the longest time, I was like, what? They're fucking, fuck that. And then I remembered the words of Christopher Reeve, and I said, no, you know what? It's needed. If we want to see the character continue, it's needed. Because all they did with Brandon Routh's Superman was just try to continue on Superman from 30 years ago. And it didn't work, and it won't work, especially since the times have changed. So this is going to be the new Superman. We've got a new actor at the helm. We've got Christopher Nolan, who is responsible for Dark Knight franchise, is producing it. We've got Zack Snyder, who's directed a lot of great comic book movies, or arguably great. Some would say that his movies aren't that great, but it's kind of it's split down the middle.
What did he actually direct?
Zack Snyder directed 300, The Watchmen. Yeah, okay, no Watchmen, no likey. That's
no,
right.
no likey.
That's right.
On the Watchmen topic, let me just ask every fan of that movie: Dr. Manhattan had no hair, yes?
Right.
He had blue fucking pubes. Now he can create anything he wants. He made a conscious decision that he didn't give a shit about body hair except on his nuts.
And we're back on dongs.
Blue dongs. There's a tangible difference.
We've gone from green dongs to blue dongs. But, yeah, it's aside from that, man, like, the only point I'm making to throw out there is he's got his credit doing movies based on comic books. So they're not just pulling, like, fucking, I don't know, give me a fucking director here.
Penny Marshall.
There you go. We're not pulling Penny Marshall and having her do, like, a Superman of their own or whatever. So it's got a lot of weight behind it, and it needs to, because DC is sorely fucking lacking in the movie department, man. Like, they've got, and here's the thing: is like Marvel's got all of their characters under different umbrellas, which is why they can't create all the characters in a cohesive universe. You can't see Spider-Man coming to the Avengers right now because that's owned by Sony. We can't see X-Men. We can't see Wolverine make an appearance because that's owned by 20th Century Fox. DC has all of their shit under Warner Brothers, and they still can't get their shit together and create a cohesive universe. They're going to start trying at this point, and they've announced they're going to do Justice League, but are they really going to be able to fucking throw that together in 2 years?
That is going. I'm calling it right now. If it makes its 2-year window, that is going to be the biggest fucking disappointment of the summer. It'll do huge numbers week 1. Particularly for the people who are militant DC fans.
Right.
And then you are going to see fan outrage through the roof, not unlike what happened with Green Lantern.
Oh, man, don't even get me started. Well, here's my thing. Green Lantern tried too hard to be Iron Man. Like, you took Hal Jordan and just tried to make him Tony Stark. And that doesn't work. You can't do that with Hal Jordan, and the comic book fans saw through that. And then in addition to that, the whole thing, they were just like trying to set it up. The whole thing was just a big, we'll set up for this, we're setting up for this, we're setting up for this. Like, don't set up, man, just do.
Right. And not to mention they went overly cartoonish with the CGI effects. That was honestly, for me, that was the bigger issue. Yeah, I saw the Tony Stark comparisons, but for me, it really was, that CGI was just so cartoonish.
Yeah.
If you're going to do CGI at this point, we have the technology, either do it good or don't fucking do it.
Yeah.
Because
it's
jarring.
And I feel bad because I like Ryan Reynolds, and they've approached him at the aspect of doing Justice League, but his whole thing was like, from what I read in the interviews, it seems like he takes a lot of the responsibility for that movie sucking, and just basically saying, I don't know if I want to reprise the role because I let a lot of people down with that and I pissed off fans, and I don't want to do that again, which is respectable. But also not his fault.
Yeah, the rest of there were a whole lot of problems with the supporting cast in that movie too.
Yeah.
It was just a bad movie.
Yeah, Blake Lively, come on, get the fuck out of here.
And the guy with the head.
Yeah, parallax.
Yeah, that was, I still don't understand that, really. It's like you've got liquid evil in your veins, and it makes you look like you've got hydrocephaly. That's not cool.
Right. So, DC is just basically trying to copy what Marvel's doing, and they gotta find their own thing. Like, they're trying to just take the formula, and they don't, for some reason, I don't know if it's they're not getting the right people on board or what. But, I mean, at this point, I think they've even gone so far as to talk about just bringing Christian Bale back because they have one successful franchise under their umbrella, despite the fact that Batman's retired and banging Catwoman in Italy at this point.
Which, hey, as far as, what I'd like to be doing for the rest of my life, banging Anne Hathaway off the coast of Italy would be, right up there. In the grand scheme of things, he earned it.
Bang Anne Hathaway pretty much anywhere.
Yeah, here.
Honestly. Yeah, here, like right here on your kitchen table while we're doing this, while you're watching me, if you want. I don't care. I don't care. I do it. But
I'd want you to watch just so I'd have proof.
Take pictures, man. I'm gonna cherish that for a lifetime. But anyways, no, this was just a little review of what we miss here and there. I mean, a lot of the stuff has kind of been touched on by several other people and podcasters out there. I mean, that's fine. But the whole point of this was just to give NerdtopiaCast a little send-off before we close the door on it, and that was really important to me. That something that I had started with someone else, over a year ago now. We ran into this thing, and we did it for 29 episodes before I had to put it to bed. But it never really sat well with me that I wasn't able to at least close the door on it. You know what I mean? And for me, doing this, there's a lot around the name NerdtopiaCast that still kind of stings, that has to do with my personal life, and this is kind of, it's therapy for me to do this. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing, because this is not the end for me with podcasting, folks. If I could thank if I could thank my former co-host for doing anything, he brought this to me, and it gave me a creative outlet for a while, and it was kind of nice. And then I wasn't able to do it, but I always wanted to get back to it. And you guys, the writers, the people, Greg with his podcast, you guys kept the website going, man. And I know like you guys are going to be listening to this. Thank you so much for doing that, because now I get to continue. Like, I would have to start over from scratch, but I don't have to, because we still have our audience because of what you guys did. So that being the case, I can't let you guys down. I can't let the few people that actually follow our website down. So we've got some things on the horizon, folks, and this is and some exciting things too. I'm going to talk a little bit about it. If you read our articles with Charles Baserap, he writes basically anything that's going to keep you caught up on what's going on in the comic book world. So he writes American History X-Men, right?
Yeah, American History X-Men.
And that's going to wrap next month on July 4th, and then he's going to be switching to just doing random comic book weeklies.
Which are hilarious.
Yes.
Even if you are not a comic book person, because I don't have the time or income to keep up on.
And he does it for you douchebags that can pretend like you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he's the guy that enables you to be like, oh, well, that was Fantos. And yeah.
Exactly. So he's going to be doing Chronologically Challenged this week, and then he's going to be doing random comic book weeklies, and then he's going to cover Marvel's Chaos Wars. NerdtopiaCast 3000, which is our sister podcast, that's going to be a continued thing with Greg McIver and Nikki Boom Boom. They've kept that thing going for several months now. Not always weekly, but they'll wait until like a big movie comes out, and then they'll sit down and review it, and then they're forever keeping that content going, which I can't thank them enough for it. And here's a little something I spoke to Greg McIver about that, and we're going to be having with the big movie event of the summer, which is stuff that we cover, which is superheroes, and stuff that they cover, which is movies. We're going to have our first ever FilmtopiaCast 3000 / NerdtopiaCast crossover. So where we're going to be covering Man of Steel. So it's going to be more or less a virtual roundtable session, because if you listen to it, Greg and Nikki live in New York City. We're down here in Florida, so we're gonna have to figure something out to get that recorded and on the air. But we're gonna figure it out for you, man, because I really want to have this roundtable going with the four of us, and we can talk about Man of Steel. I imagine there's probably going to be some opposing views and some not so opposing views, and that's gonna be a lot of fun for anybody that wants to listen in. But you might ask, like, but you said NerdtopiaCast, but you're putting that to bed. So here's what we got going on with that. Chuck and I are going to be, like I said, closing the door here on NerdtopiaCast. We're closing down shop on this, and then we're going to open up NerdtopiaCast version 2.0, which is a long fucking name. We might just call it Ncast at that point, I think.
Yeah.
Ncast 2.0. We've got a lot of great show ideas. I don't want to reveal it right now. You're just going to have to tune in. It's going to be exclusive content on our website. We've got some great recurring themes that we're going to have back on the show. And it's going to be everything that the show was lacking originally, and then more. We'll just look at original NerdtopiaCast was the beta version.
It's going to have 100% more Chuck.
Yeah, it'll definitely have 100% more Chuck. Chuck's going to be my pilot now. I'm actually, whereas the show originally was me and my co-host, and I would kind of pilot the whole thing, and he would just kind of sit in the co-host seat and just kind of comment on the shit that I would talk about. Ncast 2.0 is going to be his show, and I'm just going to kind of sit here week after week. He's going to skipper, and I'm just going to kind of Gilligan it every now and again. I'm going to let him have it, and the reason I'm doing that is I'm going to be doing my own podcast. Chuck is going to be in it as well as some friends of mine back here in sunny Vero Beach, Florida. We're going to be running a Dungeons and Dragons podcast, which if you look online, man, those are getting really popular now.
Yeah, they definitely are, and I mean, I think a lot of people finally, it's half that the geeks have inherited the earth, and half that people are starting to really understand that D&D has an incredible narrative.
I was just going to say, man, and it's something we'll talk about when we finally sit down to do it, but Dungeons & Dragons, for me, has always been, it's just been about telling, it's a means to tell a story with your friends. It's, a lot of people, you've got the fun nerd aspect. People are like, you guys just sit around and, like, live out your fantasies. Like, that's not necessarily the case. For me, it's always been, like, I get to help tell a story with my friends, and then that's why you see, like, these nerds that get so excited about telling you what happened in their D&D game. And the whole reason for that is they had a hand in writing that story. So we're gonna tell a little bit of a story with our podcast, and the name of the podcast is going to be Knights of Hyrule. And so for some of you, like, your ears probably perked up there. I put out a teaser trailer last month about it. Hyrule, of course, is the fictitious setting for the gaming franchise, The Legend of Zelda. So it's going to tie in. It's basically going to be a big piece of fan fiction. We're going to be returning to Hyrule. We're going to be telling a little bit of the story that you never knew because we're making it up, obviously. And that's going to be really exciting. So we've got not one but 2 podcasts that we're going to be putting out between myself and Chuck, and more. Hero Sapiens, which is going to be a NerdtopiaCast original series. It's going to be a live action web series. It's going to be a comedy about a group of just utterly useless superheroes in a small town that live on the English-Welsh border. I'm tempted to, like, play some superhero music right now, but as soon as I said English-Welsh, I just want to play the theme from Benny Hill. Like, super.
Isn't that their national anthem?
It is. Like, all rise for the national anthem. And here's the superheroes running back and forth, chasing the supervillains. They're going to kick my ass for this when they hear it. What else we got? And then they're going to be starting, the pre-production for that is going to be coming up. It's in the works now, but they're going to start doing the fundraiser here in a couple weeks for costumes, for promotional, anything that they can. So please keep coming back to our Facebook page. We're going to be posting the hell out of it. I do believe they have their own Facebook page. You can find it through our Facebook page, facebook.com/NerdtopiaCast for all the news, or just NerdtopiaCast.com.
Yeah, and I've seen some of what they've got planned for that show, and I'm really impressed. Yeah, it's going to be lower budget, but that doesn't mean it's going to be bad. I think it's going to be brilliant. I look forward to what they're going to produce.
Oh, it's going to be, it's anything that they've put out so far has been fantastic.
Yeah, this is not a couple of asshole kids with a camcorder and some tin foil. This actually has production value.
Exactly. So it's going to be an exciting time for me, and also for all of us. And also, for those of you who don't know, like, I'm back here in Vero Beach, Florida, and I dare say that this is the cradle of NerdtopiaCast. This is me returning to my roots, because a little bit of backstory. NerdtopiaCast, as a podcast, came about as just kind of a fun way to entertain people in an online forum. That online forum in question was a group called Nerdtopia on Facebook. It was just kind of a close-knit group of friends, and we kind of grew, and we're like, it's like 200 members, but we're like, you know what, we're gonna take whatever we're talking about from week to week, and we're gonna put a podcast out there, and it's just gonna be exclusive content for my own friends, for them to listen to. And then it just kind of took off from there, where we had some people saying, I want to get on board with this. Like, okay, well, here, write some articles. And then we had a Blogspot page. And then from there it went to, like, we were just putting our shit on YouTube. And then from there we went to, like, well, let's get an iTunes feed. And we got that. And then from there we went to another guy, like, I want to have a podcast and have it attached to that. And now the web series. So even though the podcast that started everything has been kind of put over here, what it spawned is still going. And where I am here in Vero Beach is where all the friends that started the group live. So I'm here in good company, man, and a lot of creative minds down here are going to be kind of helping me put this together. Some of those friends work in radio. Some of the people that I've known for years automatically have a natural rapport with these people. So we've got some really great content coming out, man. So please stay tuned in the future.
I firmly believe you're going to be very entertained.
Absolutely. And we're not going to just be sitting on our asses till then. I believe we've got, 1 week? Or less than a week until the Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
All right. So here's my thing, man. Game of Thrones is huge right now. We got the season finale for season 3 coming up. I need to get caught up on it. So we're gonna have a little podcast. It's not gonna be an episode of NerdtopiaCast or anything like that. But we're just gonna have a little one-off where Chuck and I are gonna sit down and do an entire season review of Game of Thrones. We're gonna sit here and bullshit for an hour about Game of Thrones. Maybe we'll try to crank that out on the night of the season finale, or the next day. We'll do it the next day so we can talk about the entire season. It's after the season finale.
So June 10th, we will be recording the Game of Thrones.
All right, man. June 10th. There you go. 1 week from today, we'll return to this. We'll talk about Game of Thrones, and then give this our send off, man. This is it, man. This is the end of NerdtopiaCast version 1. Anything you want to add before we head out, Chuck?
Peace out, bitches.
That was a lot of fun, guys. For 30 episodes, I sat here in this chair with various co-hosts, and I did my best to entertain you, and I'm just getting warmed up, man. So final episode of NerdtopiaCast. For NerdtopiaCast, I'm Doolin Dalton.
And I'm the Chuck.
Thanks for nerding out with us, guys. Good night.
Bye.